I'm not sick anymore, but it's just like a tickle, like it's like a reminder.
You have been sick now for, I think, the last 30 years.
Yep. And I'm on
Okay.
antibiotics for the next 30 years. We're going to get through it.
Rest. Okay.
Yeah.
I have something I want to talk about today. I want to talk
What is
about
it?
the probability of success. This is like a little nugget that I dropped in the beginning of skill 1. And I feel like it has never once come up. I called it,
Okay.
the lesson is called What You're Selling. And it's basically this idea of framing up, how do you sell your program? And I want to talk about this because it's come up so much in my life lately in sales calls, because people are like, should I buy from you and do private coaching and have you work with me on this one-to-one, or should I join full stack? And I think everyone kind of faces this as you develop an offer ladder. And so we need to put this into focus for people, and to refocus it for us. Because I think sometimes it's easy to lose sight of some things when you're like, well, which one would be right for you?
Okay. So talk to me then about the What You're Selling module. I've got it open here. It's really short, but it sounds like it's really important. So let's talk through it.
Probability of success.
What does that mean?
That's what you're selling. Okay. The more access someone gets to you, the more money they spend. You're not selling that it's good. I mean, maybe it could be faster. This is possible, but that's not necessarily what they're buying. They're buying an increased likelihood that they will be successful with the information. That's why a book is $20. It costs $20,000 to hire that author to do the work for you. The book has all the information. The author doesn't necessarily have different information that they're going to work with you on, but they have done the thing before. And therefore, the likelihood of you being successful with the information when you hire that person, almost guaranteed, versus almost zero with a book.
Right.
I know plenty of successful people with no books, plenty of not successful people with a ton of books. So these are the two extreme ends of the spectrum. And then there's everything in between. There's a self-paced course. Let's call this $100.
Yeah.
It is more practical than most books are. So it costs a little more than a book, because the odds of you being successful going through a course versus reading a book are significantly higher, but not as high as they could be. Then you have things like courses in communities, group coaching communities and things like that. That's kind of like where full stack's at. Like the handsiness is higher, the more access, the probability of success is significantly higher than if it was just a course or just a book. And then you have probably a cohort model is basically a set schedule. It's like the group coaching on a schedule with people, and you're running through stuff with people. So you have peer status, and you have some different levels of accountability. Either way, a little bit more success than some other models. And then you have straight private coaching and consulting.
Yep.
And sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that.
My favorite example, Nick, from using myself, I would say 30% or more of my one-on-one content sparring clients first took a course from me. And when I asked them on the sales call, what do you feel like you missed from the course that you feel like I can help you with privately? Their response is always, I just want you to look at my writing and tell me what I'm doing. Like, you're telling me what I should look at in my writing, and you're showing me examples, and it's helpful, but I can't get there on my own.
Probability of success.
Like the end.
The end. My business is built in reverse of yours.
Yep.
So you started with courses, and so now your sales calls tilt that way, where people took the course and they're like, oh, I'm not as successful with this information as I want to be. Maybe if I hire Erica, it will fix a thing or change a thing.
Yeah.
It'll make me more successful with this stuff. And whereas I'm building top down, so people show up to my sales calls and they go, should I hire you to do this with me as my coach, or should I join full stack? I'm like, well, it's just how much do you value the guarantee that you're going to make it to the end, launch an offer, or build, launch, and start to sell a new offer.
Right. And it also has to do with money. I mean, sometimes you just can't really opt for the private.
This is also true. And before it was just like, good luck. I wish there was something else I could do. Read the email course. Like, I'll do my best to help you out any way I can. But now it's like, now there's a thing. So the offer ladder like win again, which is now I have a place to send a lot of people that wouldn't ordinarily be able to participate.
Right.
And that feels really good. Helping more people is kind of the goal.
Always the goal. And
Yeah.
it's not that people in the group coaching aren't going to have success, but it's that what you're saying about the probability. Like you are basically you're going through it, you're getting feedback and all of that. But I would say that it's still the most impactful part of the journey is when we can hop on calls with people,
Yeah.
even in a one-to-one setting when we onboard everyone or like the unlocks.
Yeah.
And people get those like breakthrough moments just from talking shit out, like talking things out back and forth
Yeah.
is so valuable.
A sparring partner, right? Like a
A
thought
sparring.
sparring partner,
Yeah.
a bandmate in some ways, someone to jam with. That's why I like calling them jam sessions.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's just there's a the price is directly connected to the probability.
Yep.
If we can get you to basically as close to 100% success rate as possible, like that's gonna be the most expensive option.
Yep.
And just changing that perspective of like, because people are like, well, like, why should people buy from us? Or like, what are we trying to sell to people? How does this really work? Like, especially for people with multiple offers, like it's hard to know when, like, why someone would buy something. And even people with the means to buy private sometimes go with a group setting because for whatever reason, like maybe they don't feel like they want or need that thing.
Yeah. Hey, how would you respond to this? Which I've heard the case made for. I've heard people say group coaching is more valuable than private coaching because you get to learn from other people's problems that are going through something similar that you wouldn't otherwise have thought of or seen. And that could unlock something unique.
I don't disagree with that sentiment. I don't know. I think more valuable is beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Mm,
What do you need in that moment? Do you need like a variety of inputs and like do you need more community in that way? Or do you need someone to just help you do a thing?
right.
I don't think I think that there's a time and place for both.
Yeah. I think the way I would describe it is most of the time, one to one is the highest probability of success if you can afford it. But there is also something kind of special about learning from other people as you go too.
Oh, 100%. I don't, maybe there's a world where they're not exclusive things.
Mm.
No, maybe I'm thinking through a new
A new
offer
a new
here
new offer?
where it's like, hey, you get if you hire us as privately, you get access to the group coaching stuff too.
Mm.
Double down on the value. So it's not so much an either or. It's like, hey, look, if you want the private stuff, but you also want to benefit from other people
Oh,
and what they're
snap.
working through and how they're doing that,
That's not a bad idea. You heard it here first, everyone.
maybe we'll offer
New
this.
ideas.
Maybe we'll begin to offer this thing.
Mm.
It would root the nature of the private consulting engagements in like a more structured curriculum. Like there's when I work with people, like I don't give them a written curriculum. I'm like, okay, so like here's what we're gonna do. Like we have the plan. The plan's the same, but instead of reading it, I go through it with people
Right.
and walk them through it, and we work and we think through basically every. But it could be helpful for people to have more resources.
It's interesting because I've started to I've just started to, do my own workbook of content sparring, which is another thing we could talk about if it's relevant, you think, that
Yes.
how I've been updating my one-to-one offer and how everyone here will likely need to update their one-to-one offer. So I'm happy to take people through what I've been doing. But before I start at the beginning, I can just say I've been taking part of the school, my part of school too, not all of it, but part of it, and like putting that as a resource in the workbook for one-to-one people so that they can optionally read through more of it in their own time. Like I don't read through it with them. Now, whether they actually read through it, I don't know. Like, is it actually useful? I don't know. I've personally found that most people who hire for one-to-one,
They're like, "I don't wanna read, that's
yeah,
why I
like
hired you."
they show up for the session because they're just not gonna do it on their own. They're extremely busy or whatever other excuse they have, and they show up for that hour and then they leave. I mean,
Yeah.
like, my therapist sometimes gives me homework. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Like, write down 3 things that you want or, like, need or whatever, and then every week she's like, "So do you wanna talk about what you wrote down?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't write, why would I write I forgot to do the homework. I don't know. I'm busy."
Yeah. You're like, "I didn't write any what
I'm
what
like
do you mean?"
the worst client in that respect. Like, I'm just not gonna like, I'm paying to have accountability on my calendar to show up and do something.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, I I know that people kinda pay for you to drag them to glory in that way.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, is it is providing them a bunch of extra resources really the thing? No. Like, have
I
people
don't
been
think so.
successful without it? For sure. But it's like, how do you make the value seem so undeniable? Like, people just wanna know there's 2 types of people I've found, right? There's people
Mhm.
who are like, "I don't want all of that stuff. I just want this one thing." And then there
Yeah,
are some people who are like, "There's so much here, how could I say no?"
right.
Like, I haven't quite figured out the difference in motivation
Mm.
from, like, who the type of person that says, "I just want A, C, and F of this list from A to Z. I want these 3 things."
Well, it's like when we started working together, you literally were like, "I'm gonna skip this, that, and this because you don't need any of this shit. Let's start here."
This
And
is
we
true.
only lived in that section, and then it was done.
True.
That's
This
because
is
you
very
knew me really well. It's hard to
yeah,
identify that with people that are strangers.
yeah. And in, like, a program that's more productized than not,
Yeah,
like, in for full stack, going through it is like, I mean, you can skip any module you want, like, and no one's you're just gonna do whatever you're gonna do.
yeah.
Um, versus in a private coaching experience, it's like, we should talk about that. We should talk through some of these things because I think no matter how done you think it is, like I think we skipped like core competency. I was like, you know what you do, like you know the thing, so we can like get past all that. Um, but in a group or like when it's asynchronous like that, it's just a little bit tougher. Right? You're relying on someone to make their own judgment calls versus working it out with somebody. So there's a lot
Right.
to be there's a lot to be said working it out with somebody, and that's kind of I guess that's where the money is, right? That's like the whole point of this entire what I'm trying to say here.
There's a lot to be like, the value of working it out with somebody and taking that pressure off of doing it at your own pace in your own way
Yeah,
is valuable.
we have been banging our head against the wall trying to find someone to help coach us
Yeah.
through some of the things that we're trying to work out as it relates to full stack. Like this is uncharted territory for us. Full stack as a program. The things that full stack teaches, we've been doing. But like
Mhm.
how do you grow a group program and the mechanics of that are different than what it is to just market and sell a private coaching and consulting service. And it's like, and then you also have we have each other, which changes the mechanics of it. It's not just like it's not you don't it's not just me, it's not just you.
Yeah.
So you have to also agree on the thing. Not that
Yeah.
we disagree on stuff, but for
We fight
many
all the
things.
time.
Anyway, this is the point. That's the point. So see, go ask for help. I don't know how we got there. Go ask for help. I want to talk about your workbook though, because I think
Yeah.
this is an important thing. The work is never done. You've been doing content sparring for like almost a year now,
Yeah.
and you're still working out. You're still making changes to the product.
Yeah. And I'm so excited about where it's going. So I'll quickly walk through it. Last year when I launched, I'm a very non-structured person, so I just figured that would make sense. I'm learning now, begrudgingly, that some people need structure, and so I have to provide that structure. Where I'm still stuck, and maybe you could coach me through this for the podcast. I don't know. I don't know if we have enough time today, but we can go through it. Is do you like my biggest question before I tell you what I've done? Do you force people to go through the way that you're like, this is what everyone needs to do? Or do you give them 2 ways to play the game? Do you allow them to choose their journey?
It's one. There's only
There's
one
only one
adventure.
adventure.
There's no choose your own
So
adventure
this is
here.
where I still struggle because I believe that content sparring is equally as valuable to people who both do and do not enjoy structure. So for example, I have got 2 new clients in the past few weeks for content sparring. One of them doesn't want structure. He's bought my course, my editing course, and he just wants to understand what the hell is wrong with my content? Why does it feel bad every time I write? And how can I make it better? He wants me to look at his content and tell him that. So we had our first session. I did that. And after the end of the hour, he was like, that was the best hour of my life. Like literally, he was like, I'm amazed. And he was like, great. I'm glad you feel that way. Um, However, though, like now I'm wrestling with, okay, do I have this new program? He's not going through the new workbook. Am I going to reach a point? I think the answer is yes. Where after a few sessions of going through this, where I just kind of like show him what's wrong and like how to fix it, do we then have to go to the program? Because eventually it's going to get to the point where it's like, I could look at your content all day and make you feel good after an hour, but the whole point is that you learn how to do this yourself. And you're not gonna be able to do this yourself if I'm just like giving you advice kind of nonstop. Some of it will be absorbed, but not all of it. So, but what I just described is basically content sparring 1.0. The old way I was doing it. You come with content, I look at your content, we talk through it. I find weak points. I ask leading questions to identify those weak points. We make changes together. You leave with content you're happy with. The way I've been doing it now with two new people. So one person that you passed to me, and then an old sparring client actually agreed to, in exchange for me helping her to go through the program, like she wouldn't have to pay me. It's like a quid pro quo thing. So she's giving me tons of really useful feedback, and she's obsessed with it. And what we're doing is going through a workbook, and we're starting with problem process proof questions. So we're not starting with content. We're starting with questions. I am showing you how to ask yourself questions to get the insight, the buyer and journey insights that you need to create content that's going to be able to market the problem process proof. Because if you don't know how to prompt yourself to get ideas that are going to be good for that, that's a problem. So we're starting there. And then we're moving to an exercise where I have the 10 content angles and I have 6 template hooks for each of the 10 angles. So we go one by one, we choose one insight. And I go, all right, we're going to write 10 different hooks from 10 different angles based on this one insight.
I already have your answer, by the way.
Okay,
You
go
can
ahead.
keep going. I'm interested in how you're building this, but
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I already have your answer.
What's the
But
answer?
you don't need more context.
What's
What's
the
the
answer?
answer?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's going to see a greater outcome? Person
Yeah.
A or person B?
The person I was just talking about.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's the
Right.
answer.
Everything in this world that we value, we have been told to value.
Yeah.
So, like, when somebody comes to you and says, I just want you to look at my content, and you're like, cool. In order for you to for me to just look at your content, like, all of these other things need to be true. You need to understand all of these things. Well, I do understand some of these things, or I think I understand them. You're like, well, we're going to go into them in such a level of depth that your level of understanding now is going to look like a kindergarten
Yeah.
as opposed to the PhD level of understanding you're about to have. Like, whatever the thing is, like, no, and you just described it when we started talking.
Hmm.
You were like, oh, well, we kind of just like glazed over some stuff. Okay, great. You knew some stuff. So it was
Yeah.
like, cool, we'll check the box. Let's talk about this thing. And if you demonstrate proficiency in it, then we seem to be good here.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because also think about what Chris Marr was talking about, like longevity, hanging on to clients for a long time. Like without that structure in that foundational knowledge base and kind of all those things, like you're not really working toward anything
Yeah. It's interesting
and
though,
they
because
expire.
some people have gone through it and have been around for ages. The whole like since last May when I launched it, I still have one client. Everyone else is churned, which is normal, natural. And this
Mm.
person, I'm now showing her this new workbook and she's still around because she loves going through the stuff. But after going through the workbook, she was like, I could just feel it. I was like, there's a difference. So you're right. I'm actually talking myself into the answer here too. Like, I don't care what you want. This is the way we have to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's hard for me though, and I'm glad that I'm being, like, open and transparent about this because I think a lot of people relate to this. Like, it's really hard for me to be like, there's one path when
This is
there's
how you
like
legendary at the thing, though.
I know,
Like,
it's
it's
just
hard to
hard.
it's like, root yourself in that concept. It's like, if I run this play in this exact same way a bajillion times,
Yeah,
first of all, the time to value, like, your time delay gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Like,
yeah,
what used to take me 9 months to help someone, like, offer up and do all the stuff is now, like, a couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah,
And now you're able to charge more because the result is sooner, the success rate is higher, like,
yeah.
it's just you become more of a factory in that way because, like, the outcome is more predictable, it's more reliable. And then the outcome is also very much more, what's the word? It's like, it's just you kinda know where it's gonna lead and all of the things. You can short circuit problems before they happen. Like, I know if people don't start trying
Yeah.
to start conversations within the first couple of weeks and they're too afraid to talk to people and do certain things, I'm like, "You're delaying your success." Like, I can see around the bend in that way because I know I've seen this play out enough times in enough different ways, and you're building that into your business now.
I love it. I do love it. It feels better. It feels like I'm in control. Whereas with content sparring before, it was like I'm running the session, but I don't feel like I'm controlling the relationship, you know?
They come with a thing. They're like, "Can we talk about this today?"
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how it went.
Yeah.
And people were happy. People got like good outcomes. Like, I feel more clear. I feel more confident, blah, blah, blah. But I'm still unconvinced that I helped them fully be able to do it themselves. And Becky, a client that Nick and I are now kind of sharing one to one, which is part of our new journey. You
Mhm.
reach your end of your point with Nick, then you come to me, then you go back to Nick. She told me straight up, like, I'm just looking for a repeatable system where I can create content that actually sells my offer. And I was like, that's the best way to say it because I did not have a repeatable system to help you do that before. And I've just built one. So great.
You're like, "Alright, how do we shift from vibes
Yeah.
to this is gonna." I think the thing that I think Becky's a fantastic example because she is a very methodical person.
Yeah.
She thrives in that level of structure and content calendar and, like, in all of those pieces clicking into place for her function really, really well.
Mm.
You couldn't I can't function in a content environment like that. I mean, maybe I
Yeah.
could. I've tried it myself and I have failed, so maybe I need to hire you to teach me how to.
Content calendars. I can't live in a content calendar. What are you
Well,
talking about?
whatever the thing is. So maybe that is, like, part of my
I
problem.
actually really do want to walk you through the new workbook. I think it'll
I
help.
need
It
to
would
go
help
through
you
the
a
new
lot. Yeah.
workbook. I need to. If that's part of the deal, then I need to know.
Oh, it's part of the more feedback I can get, the better.
Yeah, send it to me right now.
All right.
But so here's, like, the big aha with all of this.
Yeah.
The work is never done.
Yes, that's the point. That is the fucking point. Like, everyone looks at me, especially because I've got, oh, like all these followers. Like, that's nice and lovely. And I'm glad that people click follow, but it doesn't make me any more special or talented or better at this fucking business shit. Like, it's hard. And I am figuring it out loud in public. And I try to be as transparent about that as possible. But like, I I still some days wake up feeling like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
That doesn't go away.
It doesn't go
I
away. I know, but, like, I really did think for a little bit, and this is another reason why it's like this is why Full Stack and this program, we wanted people to be with us for a year because when you first launch something, the dopamine and adrenaline of it is, like, crazy. You're like,
Mhm.
I've solved everything, like, I've got my offer, people are happy, I'm making money." I thought I was flying high. Like, I was like, "This is my life now, I'm good."
You're like, "People we're gonna get 50 people a month in a
Oh,
full
yeah,
stack
I'm
and
a
life's gonna be
millionaire,
good."
like, and then a couple months in is when I started to notice, like, I'm not sure this is actually working towards milestones or, like, real, like, outcomes that are gonna be measurable, and, like, it started to feel harder for me to be excited about helping people because I didn't feel like I was helping them in the best way I could, and so I started to struggle with that, like, what the fuck do I do? And so I just let people, like I did my job, I showed up, but I let people naturally churn and I didn't promote it because it felt wrong. So I went from 19 clients down to like 1 and now I'm back up to like 5. Also I learned in the process that I have a cap that I now understand how many people I can work with and all that comes. But the point is like I needed a coach to help me get my initial offer out, but now it feels even more important to have a coach to help me make it good and like repeatable and scalable and sustainable.
This is the word you're looking for is productized.
Yeah.
So now there's a difference between having an offer, like here's a thing that people can buy,
Yeah.
but the delivery mechanism of it, like that productization, the repeatability part of it,
Right.
like for me to say, hey, here's a 4 phase journey. First, we're going to plan it, then we're going to do it, then we're going to make it better, then we're going to make it bigger. Like that thought process is not productization. It's the scaffolding of what could become your productization, but this is more mental. This is stuff for your buyer to grab onto to understand how this offer works,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily the productization of it where the deliverability of it is simple and it's repeatable and it's predictable and all the stuff that you're describing. And it's
Yeah.
like even my program, like I've learned so much from the people inside of Full Stack going through it because I'm not there to smooth it out in the way that I am privately.
Right.
So like the hurdles, the things that are like little molehills in consulting where they're like, "What about this thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, like this, that, and the," I'm like, "Oh, okay, super simple."
Yep.
Versus in when it's asynchronous and I'm not there, it's like, "I don't know what to do with this thing, and I'm completely lost." And I'm like, "And I don't know how to move forward now." I'm like, "Oh, I need to like really." It becomes a melon. How do I solve this, and how do I make this make more sense?
Yeah.
The sales module was a big one. I had to go in and expand the sales module and really like rebuild that thing to be a more complete and more actionable.
Right.
It just felt like it focused on a single conversation, which it did. And I was like, and because in when I teach it, I'm like, here's the rub, right? Let's go do this stuff together. Let's action this right now, and I'll show you how this works. And it's not as simple as that without me there
I wonder
walking
if
you
there's a
through it.
takeaway here because we only have like 2 minutes before we have to tap onto the group coaching call, but
Mhm.
like is it important that people try to write out their offer as if they were teaching it async so that they can then learn where there could be potential like has that helped in has this process with full stack helped inform your one-to-one or is that
Totally.
still the same?
I mean, I have a lot more I have way more examples to provide of like
Mm,
of how like it just helps me smooth out or shorten the time my ability to get someone from here's what I'm thinking to here's what we're gonna hit go on. This is what we're gonna make a decision on.
yeah,
But I think the main takeaway is like productization is a separate thing. And it's a separate skill set or a separate like mechanism. Making an offer and showing someone that, hey, like this is what you're going to buy from me, and here's what it's going to do for you, and here's why what that matters to your business. Here's the problem it's going to solve. All
yeah,
of those things are things that are going to make you money. But when it comes to a delightful client experience, like I mean, there are people who specialize in that.
yeah.
There are people whose whole business is productize your consulting services. I
We
should
should
bring Max
probably have
Trailer in.
one of them. So we should probably have one of them in here as a for a mini
Yeah, I'll
course.
have Max come in and do a mini course on it because that's really where things that's a totally different skill set. So when people and this is like another great part about niching down so great. Max Trailer doesn't sell too much to consultants anymore, but he's a good friend now. And he used to sell to consultants, and his whole thing was productize your consulting services. And he would teach people how to do that. And people go, "Well, it sounds like Max is a competitor." No, Max doesn't help you create your offer.
Yeah.
Max helps you productize your service delivery.
God.
So and I'm like, like,
Yeah.
hey, you probably need us both. Like, but we're gonna take you to two different things. And
Uh-oh,
it's
does Max need to be part of full stack? Should we bring on a third partner?
Max is hilarious. He's a good dude. I'm gonna ask him if he wants to come do a mini course. I think that would
Yeah.
be fantastic.
All right.
Okay, we gotta
I
go to
hope
group
this was
coaching,
helpful. We
but
gotta go to group coaching. There's more to be said on this. We'll say it
I
another
like that
time.
you talk to the people like I just assume no one's listening.
Oh, I'm always talking like people are listening.
Oh, I just assume it's just us talking to each other. If
Well
someone listens, I'm really happy. I'm, like, really thankful, but I just assume it's just us.
well, that's what makes the world go round,
There
different
you go.
different
Alright, see
personalities.
ya.
Alright, bye.